Hey everyone, I'd like to show off a mod that I've been working on for the past couple of weeks. It's kind of a progression on the docking mod that I released. Yeah, so I'll just get right into it. It is this structure, and it looks kind of like a shipyard, and it is. It is a functioning, working shipyard that uses blueprints to create ships. I'll go over how it works now, and you can see it. So, just like in the docking mod, you define a shipyard with 4 beacons. Here you can see the 4 beacons. It actually projects, even though they create a plane, it projects into a cube. So here's kind of the cube area. So everything that you build or deconstruct actually happens inside this cube. If the ship doesn't fit in the cube, or the ship's too big, then it won't be able to break it down or construct it. So the size does matter. Now, in order to use the shipyard, you have to license it. This is something I added a little bit later after I got into, because I wanted a way to sort of gate content from people on my server. I don't want anyone just to come in with who can afford 4 beacons to create a shipyard, since it does kind of add ships, a lot of ships to the server. So what I did was gate it with a license. So right now I have the cost at 100 platinum, but it should be really a lot higher. This is just kind of my test server, so it's set really low. So you use basically, also besides the beacons, you need a status beacon and a cargo beacon, which are defined here. I'll show you. So these 6 items here create a shipyard. So you just name it with status and with cargo. And in the cargo, you have all your items you need required for building, and it just pulls out of this. I already have a license, I think. Yeah, I do. So I don't need to buy one. But usually you'd have to buy one before you can actually start using it. So I have a couple ships here that I can start breaking down and show you. So the first thing you can do, obviously, is there's a tiny little fighter I have. Basically, what first you have to do is break them down. So you deconstruct them, and to create a blueprint. Now, deconstructing ships don't cost anything, but you don't get anything back from when it deconstructs. So it actually removes the ship from the game. It breaks it down, and that's basically the cost. So you lose the ship, but you gain the blueprint. I could have added an extra cost, but I thought that was fair enough. So first you have to use the deconstruct command. And it gives you the time. The time is based on the actual grinding speed of the server times a modifier. So I think I have it set highest at 10, and the rates are set really low, so that to speed everything up for a demonstration. Usually this would take a long time, and as you can see, it actually breaks it down. So there's 44%, now it's 30%. And it's showing it actually breaking down into its component parts, into skeleton, and then probably 2 more ticks, it'll be gone. After it's broken down, it gets put into your blueprint list. So there, it's gone. It's gone from the world, and now it's part of your catalog. So I'll show off. I have a couple things already in there, but I have it created the basic fighter blueprint, and now I will also break this one down too. This is my miner, and it was in my last video too. Fit. Yeah, everything has to fit inside the cube here. So I'll break this one down too, and then I'll show you constructing too. So this one will take a little longer, more parts to it. So yeah, the time is based, like I said, on all the parts of the ship. So the more parts, the longer it takes. So as you can imagine, really large, huge ships will cost, or it will take a lot longer to break down and build up, and cost a lot more, obviously, too. The cost is based on, when you construct, the cost will be based on all the parts, so it actually gives you the component parts. It figures out the component parts of every single block and then gives you a cost based on that, times a modifier. So as an admin, you can set it however you want. If you feel that shipyards are really powerful and want things to build really, really slowly, then you can set the modifier really high. That will force, so then it's basically a trade-off. You trade off having to rebuild the ship by hand with time and cost, which I think is pretty fair in a lot of circumstances. A lot of people just want to design a ship once and be able to build it a bunch of times, which is kind of what this does. So it's almost done here. A couple more ticks, down to 4%. There it goes. So it's in my catalog again. There it is, the basic miner. And so now I'll show you constructing. Now constructing costs materials, which you put in this cargo container, which I have a bunch of here. And yeah, it gets pulled from there. So there it is. So it pops up the skeleton and it builds up just like it kind of deconstructed, but in reverse. It looks like it's pointing randomly, but it's actually looking at the status beacon. So you can move the status beacon to somewhere, and it will look at that when it spawns. And if it doesn't, if it's not able to, it actually tries to figure out a place that it can sit in the bounding box so that it actually can construct. And if that fails, then it is too big for the shipyard and just gives you an error message. So as you can see, it builds up here slowly, depending on the time. And as items come on, you can see it functioning. Any cargo that is in the ship before you deconstruct it is actually destroyed. So it's better. It's a good idea to actually remove everything from the ship. It actually keeps a little bit of uranium on building, so it'll. I think I have it set to 1 kilogram per generator. So basically, you pull out all your cargo, otherwise it gets destroyed. As you can see, it's almost done building. You could actually jump in it early too, before it's done. It'll stop constructing. It detects that, and but the materials are gone, so you won't get a refund or anything. So okay, it's done. You can jump in and fly off in it. It's all functioning and whatnot. You can build another one. In order to figure out how much it's going to cost and the time required, I put in a command to analyze. So it gives you the component parts required to actually build it. On this server right now, it's really, really low. That should be actually 10 times the amount, so it's actually over 1,000 steel plates. That's all set. You can all set that as an admin to whatever you want, whatever multiplier you want. It could be double, triple the cost that it would be by hand, whatever you want. Also, you can also figure out the time. So this one to construct and deconstruct is 1 minute 19 seconds. What else can it do here? Oh, so let me just throw a big ship on there. So this is a big one. As you can see, it's not looking at the status beacon. It's actually can't fit when it's looking at the status beacon, so it actually has to reorient itself. And it starts as a skeleton. This one takes a lot longer because it's a big carrier ship. It takes 3 minutes. So I actually want to talk about something else that I've done. So this is going to be expanded, obviously, to allow repairs and a bunch of other things. But this is just the base of it right now. So one thing that I can do that's kind of neat that I added is the ability to export your blueprints. Oops. Sometimes it drops commands here. That's why I kind of hate using the chat. So it gets exported. Right now I'm using Pasty. So you can actually go to that URL and your ship will actually be there. And now on the other side, I have an import command. It's not 100% complete yet. I think it's still a bit buggy. But you can import that exported blueprint to a server that also has blueprints at the cost defined by the server. So it's kind of a fair way to move ships between servers, or even have designs between servers. You can make your design in creative, export it, put it on, for example, Pasty, and then import it into a game that has shipyards as a blueprint. At the cost it would have been for you to build that whole ship, put it in here, and deconstruct it. So when you do the import, it'll be called downloading, and it'll take the same amount of time as if you actually built the ship, then moved it in here and deconstructed it. It'll make sense if I could show it off, which I'll show off once it's 100% complete. But it's kind of a fair way, because you'll need the material costs of that ship, so you can't just like creatively build a giant ship and bring it in for free. You actually have to pay what it actually would have cost. So yeah, this ship's almost done. Let me see what it's at here. A minute. That's pretty much it. Let me see, anything else here? No, just the other thing it does handle. This one doesn't have it in. Is mods. So if you have a bunch of a bunch of custom blocks and whatnot, this does handle it, as long as the mod plays nice and created their cubeblocks.sbc with the appropriate material costs in it. Then those material costs will get added to the cost of the blueprint, and it should all work nice together. Right now I have the letters mod on my server, but if you have a bunch of other mods, it should take that into account when figuring out the price of all the ships. The glass got inverted here. I think that's a bug in the new version. Yeah, so that's kind of the base of it. Hopefully this will be out next week, depending on how testing goes on my server. If you have any questions or comments, or if you're interested in using this mod on your server, you can send me a message on the forums, the Keen forums, and I'll be happy to get back to you and talk about it. I'm still kind of tweaking the balance, which is kind of the important factor in this, trying to find a good sort of default balance, because it does really fundamentally kind of change the game. There's going to be a lot more ships on the servers, but the positive thing is, after even only a couple days on my server, people are no longer afraid to use their ships that they spent hours designing. You can design it, take like 2 or 3 hours to design a really good ship, break it down into a blueprint, and then actually use it without fear of never being able to have that ship again, because it is in a blueprint. So you can just print off more. Even though it takes a while to print off and they're more expensive, at least you always have a copy of that ship. So yeah, and that's it. So if you have any questions or comments or whatnot, get back to me on in the Keen forums for this mod, and yeah, thanks a lot for watching.